virtually online. And of course, we do have some of our colleagues also present here with us. The Minister of Police, General Bheki, Cele, as well as the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Cele, are happy to take your questions. But before we get on to the business of the day, I would like to allow the Minister, or to invite the Minister, to please take us through a statement that he's prepared before we take questions, both from the floor as well as our media colleagues who are joining us online. After that, thank you, Minister.
Thanks, Ranzo. The National Commissioner of the South African Police, General Cele, the SABC members that are present here, members of the medias, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everybody. South Africa is turning the corner against the COVID-19 virus. This is demonstrated by the fact that the country now enjoys lowest alert level of the national lockdown. However, while we are not where we were some months back, we are certainly not out of the woods as yet. This is the call by the health experts that must to be taken seriously by all of us. We are aware that as the days get warmer and the restrictions are more relaxed, law enforcement will have to work harder to ensure they bring an end to any behavior that threatens the containment of the virus. COVID-19 has been hard on the SABC, infecting 16,539 officers. The virus has claimed the lives of 215 men and women in blue. However, we remain encouraged by the high recovery rate, over 15,000. Members have won the battle against the virus and are back to serving the communities. As the South African Police Service, we remain resolute in meeting our constitutional mandate, which is to maintain law and order whilst ensuring adherence to the Disaster Management Act. South Africa may be on the lowest alert level of the national lockdown, but law enforcement, on the other hand, will remain on the high alert. Let me take this opportunity to thank the millions of South Africans who have heeded the call to stay safe and continue to wear their face mask, wash their hands, and maintain social distance. Police will continue to enforce the curfew, which starts the midnight until 4 a.m. The sale of liquor is permitted from 9 a.m. to 17 hours during the week. No alcohol can be sold for off-site consumption over the weekend or during public holiday. Alcohol can be sold and consumed at licensed premises only, but not before 9 and not after midnight. Equally, alcohol cannot be sold as takeaways. It must be consumed on the premise where it was bought. It's that simple. So you can't just buy and say have a takeaway, you are going out with it. Or if the time of curfew comes, you pick it and you go away, you leave it there. I want to express my shock and discuss about the blatant disregard of the health of our people by some liquor outlets owners. I'm talking about the business that choose to flout the rules in the name of profit. This past weekend, I joined the operations checking on the compliance in the Ekurhuleni in the Gauteng province. During the multidisciplinary operations between SABC, SANDF, and provincial traffic law enforcement, we came across several shebeens and taverns operating way past the stipulated 10 p.m. curfew under level 2. More disturbing was the practice of some liquor outlets squeezing petrol inside their venues with shut windows and doors. This is done to look as if the business is closed for the night. Meanwhile, drinking and socializing is in the confined space ongoing until the early hours of the morning. Establishments in other parts of the country are undertaking the illegal practice that is putting money before people's health. This is what they do. They shut all the doors, they shut all the windows, and the drinking and consumption of alcohol continues. So we want to make the point very clear. We knock to these areas, but if we are correct and our information is correct, we would not hesitate to get enforced access to those places to make sure that those people are saved. So the better way of not us having enforced access is that people must just obey the law. When you close, let the people go, and don't keep the people there as your slaves to continue to do things that they are not supposed to do because you want extra money. I also know that it is not only taverns that are breaking the rules. Some restaurants and eateries are also flouting the rules, putting their customers at risk of infections. I want to remind all the business owners who insist on flouting the rules, the long arm of the law will catch up with you and you will also lose your operating license. Ladies and gentlemen, from the start of the lockdown in March to date, 310,494 people have been arrested and charged with contravention of the Disaster Management Act. These violations range from liquor, transport, and business and cross-border related offences. The Western Cape recorded the most arrests with 72,137 and followed by Gauteng with 59,000 arrests. The public is reminded that while the social gathering, including concerts, live performances, are permitted, nightclubs still have to shut their doors. No more than 100 mourners can attend a funeral. Night vigil are still not permitted. These 100 mourners attending the funeral, it means in the church and in the cemeteries. You don't increase your number because now we are in the cemeteries. This 100 is on both places where you are having the church and when you are going to the cemeteries. On another note, communities are urged to consider it when hosting social gathering in residential areas. There are many complaints received of noise and disruptive behavior at people's homes. This virus is still very much with us, and despite further lifting of restriction, people need to take responsibility for their own lives and that of their loved ones. This complaint of the noise, it happens when people are in their houses, they think they can blast the music. If your music disturbs neighborhood, is not allowed. All the bylaws of metros in the Republic of South Africa, they take noise as an offense. It doesn't matter what kind of noise, including the people that are in the church are not allowed to make the noise that disturb the neighborhood, whether it's a house party, whether it's your home, whether it's the spinning of the cars, all that kind of noise is not allowed. GBVNF hotspots. If we all play our parts, the country will certainly combat the coronavirus pandemic. Sadly, the same cannot be said for the second pandemic that is a crisis level in the country. Gender-based violence is a societal evil that must be contained at all costs. Following the Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa's pronouncement around GBVNF, still rife under lockdown, the work of the Interministerial Committee on the GBV continues. As a member of this IMC, I have addressed this topic several times, highlighting the work we are doing as the steps to combat this scourge. I have also spoken at length of measures we as the police are putting in place to professionalize the service rendered to the victims of GBVF. In our effort to drill down the community and district level in our response to GBVF, government has pinned down 30 GBVF hotspots, the list was compiled based on 9 key variables, including number of cases reported to the SABC during the 2019-2020 financial year. These cases include rape, human trafficking for sexual offenses, kidnapping for sexual offenses, domestic-related and human trafficking. Figures of the reported domestic violence-related cases on murder, rape, attempted murder, and assault GBH were also considered when compiling this list. The hotspots list also includes 8 other variables, such as calls related to domestic violence and gender-based violence received. Data was also included from victim support services, such as Tutuzela centers, health facilities, and other data from other departments that paint a picture of the GBVF in particular area. The Interministerial Committee on the GBVF will elaborate further on these hotspots compiled by various departments. For the purpose of today's briefing, I would like to expand on the intervention that SABC will undertake in these identified areas. As part of the SABC Integrated Sexual Offence and GBF Action Plan, there are proactive measures with short, medium, and long-term timeframes. GBF remains a priority crime for SABC. As a prevention measure, the SABC will also continue to have a sustained public awareness and community-based campaigns as the identified areas of GBF. Police stations in those identified areas are expected to have a permanent desk dedicated to GBF. This will go a long way in ensuring victims of gender crimes are responded to by trained officers in a professional way. The dedicated desk will reduce the risk of ill treatment at the hands of officers, as we have seen in some instances. These permanent desks should not be limited to the hotspots areas only, but should be a norm at all stations. This matter makes one hot. We are also forging ahead with our plan of ensuring that victim-friendly rooms meet all requirements and are available at all police stations. Police stations should have access to DNA collection kits at all times in the identified areas and beyond. A medium to a long term is addressing the GBVH case backlog, as well as relooking at cold cases. The capacitating of the FCS specialized units that handles all GBVF and femicide cases is ongoing, and so is the training of members. While we know police alone will not rid the country of this evil, we as the SABC will continue to strengthen our response to the GBVF. The approach will promote accountability and ensure that all victims and survivors of the GBVF have access to justice. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we are aware that the identification of these hotspots does not mean that GBVF is limited only in these areas. This is why provinces are strongly encouraged to look at their own localized hotspots and ensure that victim center services deliver in all corners of the countries. We have a list here of those top 30 that are regarded as a hotspots, and there are 30, so I would not go through reading them. So this statement will end there, and I'm sure the communication people give these stations if they are needed by the people of the media. Having said so, it's the second time I repeat it, that we have tried to make the police service very much accessible to the people of the Republic of South Africa. We have printed this police directory that every number of so that you can phone any station is their numbers and their mobile is not just the station numbers, so that people of South Africa, they have an access to every police in the Republic of South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. And that access is really on your fingertips, as we can see with this directorate. Thank you so much for that presentation, Minister. I do want to invite questions. I do believe that our colleagues are joining us virtually this time and online. And of course, we also have a telephone line. Ishmael is manning our telephone lines, and Ujabulani will be giving us our WhatsApp lines. Can we just maybe check if we do have anything on the telephone, Ishmael?
Thanks, Chairperson. We don't have questions on the telephone lines at the moment.
All right. Can we then just take it to the WhatsApp line? Maybe take the first three and then allow for some answers, and then we'll take it from there. Thanks, Jabu.
Thank you, Larenza. I have Mulahadi from Highveld Chronicles newspaper. It's directed to the minister. She's asking, a small town of Watervalboven in Makazeni in Mpumalanga has reported countless unattended GBV cases by the Watervalboven police station to the media. Can the minister intervene in this police station, as the men's sector in the region has reported that they have made several calls to the minister to intervene with no response? Her second question, what is the minister response to concerns of the public regarding his lack of response to the burning issue of human trafficking? And what are the prevention strategies being orchestrated by SABC or police ministry to tackle human trafficking? I have another question from her. Many are blaming the flood of illegal immigrants in the country to be the main cause of human trafficking. What has been findings on the side of SABC, and if any, what are the measures in place to mitigate this? I have Azara Karim from News 24 saying that News 24 has published the results of a 7-month-long investigation into Quasi-Sabantu mission. I would like to ask the minister some questions regarding this. Do you or did you have any personal relationships with the Quasi-Sabantu mission or any of the leadership at the mission?
Is that not Quasi-Zabantu?
Yes, Quasi-Sabantu, Minister.
Okay.
Have you ever had meetings with anyone at KSB? And if so, what were the topics under discussion? The second question from...
Can you maybe just hold it there, Jabulani?
Okay.
Let's hold it there, Jabulani, so that we can allow the Minister and the National Commission to answer to those questions. And then we can always go back to more questions and follow-ups. Minister, can you maybe just take us through some of the questions that have been forwarded to you? Over to you.
I request that the Commissioner answers the second question of the human trafficking. And then I'll come back to other questions.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thanks for the questions. Yeah, firstly, human trafficking, it's an organized type of a crime, and it is also transnational in nature. At that first level, a transnational level, we've got transnational organized crime operations that we share with the SABCO countries, which are the neighboring countries, the SADC countries, but it is also a crime that we're looking at Interpol level. These are integrated and multidisciplinary investigations by the various countries. We are also working on transnational crime prevention framework, where we educate our communities. We get on to massive awareness campaign within the country to make our people aware. And we have also ventured into an online policing response, where one of the online platforms that we introduced, the Missing Child app, which we actually launched together with Facebook, we are expanding on this particular response at an online level, to make sure then that we also have an activation plan, an online activation plan, in order to intercept all the human trafficking, that is crimes. But both our crime detection, organized crime approach, as well as DPCI and all other security agencies, we're working together to provide a response to human trafficking. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much. The question from Vater van Boven. That's a question from Vater van Boven, that is in Mpumalanga. I have not received those complaints from Vater van Boven, but I would be very pleased to receive them if it needs be, or on my telephone number. But the person that would be responsible for that, it will be Deputy Provincial Commissioner of Detection. That will be 082 770 5127. That is in the Provincial Office of Mpumalanga, responsible for detectives. If they phone there and they don't find any joy, then they can continue to come to me. But those issues are serious and they need to be followed. The answer that was given by the commissioner was that specifically I'm not sensitive on the matters. There is no matter of crime that I'm absolutely not sensitive to it. Commissioner has responded to it. We discuss about this matter. But can I add that there is one disturbing issue about this matter of kidnapping and human trafficking. There is a lot of fake news on it. There is a lot of fake news because they know that people are scared, are sensitive on the matter, especially after the kidnapping of a child in a restaurant. Many people, they came and they gave the addresses of the places where they say this is happening. Those have been checked. One place that was checked, having given that is a center of kidnapping, was found to be the police barracks. Police live there. The other one was found to be the financial institution where people are doing legitimate financial institution. So it tells you that there are opportunists, that they always be there to make sure that they exploit the genuine fears of the public that is there. There is a genuine problem, genuine fear, but there is a further people that exploit, further opportunists that exploit that matter. Kwasizabantu, I know nobody. I have no personal understanding. Kwasizabantu, I only know it as I drive past. Is a mission that we grew up knowing. I still know it. I never been there. There are stories that I know they are being investigated. And I'm not going to be talking about the investigation that are going on. They have not been finalized. Many things have been said. I've seen the statement by Kwasizabantu themselves praying that people are not saying wrong things about them. But yes, there are people that they have relationship with KwaSizaBantu that have raised matters with the mission of KwaSizaBantu. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister. And just to remind our media colleagues about the gender-based violence and femicide hotspot list, it is attached to the Minister's speech, and that speech has been circulated to our colleagues. And that list of the 30 identified areas is certainly on that. But let's take some more questions, Jabu, if you may.
Sorry, Chairperson.
Is there a call, Ishmael?
Yes, Chair, thanks.
Fantastic. Let's take a call.
We have Mercedes Besant from SABC. You can go ahead, Mercedes.
Can I go ahead? It's Mercedes Besant here. I'm quite in a rush. I only have one question here, Minister. And the last time I asked it, unfortunately, I asked it at the wrong platform. But I don't think that platform was wrong as well. But my concern is more about the COVID-19 and the protocols that are not being followed. You say you're telling us how disgusting the taverns and all the other people are, and we know that when the private sector, when they do not follow the protocols, they are being clamped down on. But I've also asked the Minister, Dr. Nkosa Zanadlamini Zuma, who clamps down on government, who clamps down, for example, on the police services, where protocols are not being followed. I'm extremely worried, Minister, when I see the police are no longer wearing masks, especially in Parliament, and I can tell you I'm on my way to work now, I will see some of them not wearing masks. And they sit there in a cubicle sometimes late at night without the masks, and they're also putting themselves, they can infect one another if any of them are infected. I mean, we know many people are asymptomatic and so on. So I want to know who gave them instructions. Did you give them instructions not to wear masks anymore, especially when they are on duty? And lastly, I want to know what is the total number now of police who have contracted the corona?
Mercedes, are you still there? I think we've lost that line, but the question... Okay.
Yeah, this is Sophia speaking. I think it might have been you might have been speaking to someone else earlier.
Okay, go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah, so I work for AFP News Agency, and I have two questions for the Minister. The first one is, are you concerned that anti-foreigner protests tomorrow could degenerate into xenophobic attacks?
Thank you.
It seems we're having trouble with that line, but her question was around a protest or a march that's planned for tomorrow. Are you concerned that it could degenerate into anti-foreigner sentiments? Or so we can maybe answer that. And we'll try possibly Ishmael to just get it back, because she did have a second question, which we didn't hear. But can we maybe take answers for the two questions that we received on the line, Minister?
Well, Mercedes asked the question, how many of our members, I hope we are not putting me against Mercedes, because she's very worried about us not putting these masks. Mercedes, I wanted to put my mask and Lorenzo refused me to put my mask here. The numbers is 16,539. That have been infected, and more than 15,000 of them has won the battle against the COVID, and unfortunately 215 have lost the battle, Mercedes. That's one. But the commander of the men and women in blue is here. Maybe he's going to tell us why the police are not putting the mask. Commissioner.
No, thank you very much, Minister. I would just like to be very straightforward about it. Firstly, we have a formally established COVID-19 steering committee in the South African Police Service. Secondly, we have drafted national instructions. And in terms of those national instructions, it is clear to all members, when they are on duty, they must put on the mask. And if there will be anyone who will be on duty and do not put on the mask in terms of the national instructions that we've issued, that will be a misconduct. We will be happy to receive any report that some of our members, while they are on duty, they do not comply with these particular instructions. But having received the report, we are going to take it into serious account, and we will send senior officers to go and check on the report that we have received. But we are also then going to strengthen our internal monitoring, that is policies, so that we make sure members of the police do not infect the public, but rather help them. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much,
Question
General.
of, yes, if the march is about foreign nationals, if the march is about foreign nationals, that does carry the danger of it being converted to be xenophobic. We will be watching it. Remember, South Africa, everybody has a right to march unarmed, but not armed or xenophobic kind of march and all. We will be watching the march, and we hope the march is peaceful and it does not ignite any form of xenophobic sentiments. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Minister. I believe that there's a lot of questions that are coming in through our WhatsApp line. Possibly, if you allow me, Jabulani, I could maybe assist you in terms of fielding these questions. One question coming from ENCA Minister, from Uman Ngoba, who's asking, I just want to know, what are the repercussions for people who found on site drinking liquor illegally, saying that, people that are found to be drinking beyond the curfew? What then happens to those people? Jabulani, maybe you can just take us through some of the questions that you've received. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. I have Nazir from Cloud TV. Are burials allowed to take place during curfew times? Note certain religious groups bury immediately, especially with COVID-19 deaths. Second question, has any extensions been given to license firearm owners whose license expired during the lockdown period? Then I have Andayazo from Power FM. Have any of the liquor outlets have been found to be floating lockdown regulations been shut down, or is it just the owners facing fines? I have Marvin Charles, Cape Achas. Has any club owners been fined, is the same question, Minister, or arrested for not adhering to the regulations? If so, how many? I have Sisonke Mlamla from Cape Achas. What is the relation of the SABC and Cape Town law enforcement officers in collaborative efforts in fighting GBV in the Western Cape? Then I have Prince from Network 24. Minister, you said that 300,000 and 10,494 people have been arrested since the start of the lockdown. How many are still in detention, and has the process started to squash the criminal records of many citizens that have been arrested for the breaking of the minor lockdown regulations? I have Sakiseni Nxumalo from Mercury newspaper. There are reports that there are two groups of gang kids between age 13 and 17 in Newcastle, or Sizwin, that's to be specific, that are terrorizing the community. This gang call themselves Last Warning, and juveniles are fearless, and they even assault community members in front of the police. Is the police aware of this? What interventions is the police making to curb the growing number of gangs in townships?
All right, let's just pause it there, Jabulani, and allow for the Minister and the General to respond to those questions. There's quite a few of these questions.
And you allow them. And you complain.
They're trickling in, Minister.
The nightclubs are not open yet. So there is nobody that is going to flout the nightclub rules because they are not opened. What has been happening with the people that are breaking the rules in the ship-ins, up to this point, people that get arrested are the managers and the owners. Those they get arrested and they are taken through the processes. Usually people that are found there are told to go, and sometimes they try to take the alcohol and go with it, and the alcohol is not allowed to leave the premises of the on-site consumption. So usually lobo jwala siyabuchitha, siyabuchitha utshwala, awuhambi nabo, awuphumi nabo. We make sure that you don't break the second law of being there beyond the curfew time, and when you go, you take the on-site consumption to carry home. So that is that. But managers and the owners, starting from Durban and the other week, were arrested quite several of the managers and the owners. This weekend again, quite several of them, they were arrested. So but we also reported to the people responsible for issuing licenses, like your licenses, your liquor board licenses, liquor board that issue licenses. We report to them that so and so is flouting the rules. It's up to them to take the law further, whether they shut down your business or not shut down your business. So those are the things. But we do open the criminal record. And if you end up having a criminal record, remember, you can't run a business. You can't run a normal business, let alone the alcohol business, if you are found having a criminal record on liquor waste. Commissioner, on the licenses of the lockdown, and maybe you can further explain to those expired licenses what is expected from those people to do.
Thank you very much, Minister. Yeah, firstly, let me start by saying the firearm license offices at police stations, they are not closed during lockdown. They are still operational, and those whose firearm licenses are expiring, they are still at liberty to approach those offices. But given the fact that we know that there's lockdown, there is some flexibility that we exercise based on the circumstances which may lead to someone not having the opportunity to renew, that is the license. But we're not necessarily giving a blanket authority. We're treating each and every case according to its merit. And it's the merits of that particular case that will warrant some kind of a relaxation approach. But as of now, we are not sitting with a backlog of expired licenses. The normal process is still in place, and it still applies. So I think maybe in summing up, I can say we're still assisting people with firearm licenses, and the offices continue to be open. But we are flexible to treating each and every case based on its own merits. And then, Minister, there was also a question based on the response to the young gang members in Newcastle. I think firstly, our response starts with the rollout of the anti-gang units. We started with the Big Four provinces, and it's part and parcel of the rollout throughout, that is the country. Secondly, from an intelligence point of view, we are able to know about the manifestation of gangs that is across the country. We have commissioned such intelligence within the gang combating and prevention strategy. And from a prevention's point of view, we provide an early or a proactive response to such gangs. But what we will not be knowing at a particular given time is when there's a new modus operandi, because that modus operandi still needs to be picked up by our intelligence and our modus operandi analysis group before we can respond. But we share this information. We will zoom deeper into what is happening in Newcastle and then provide a response. Thank you, Minister.
Yes, the question, are we working with all other law enforcement and in the Western Cape? Yes, together we are, and we will work with everybody else that is helping us to curb any form of gender-based violence. Whether it's a law enforcement, so long the structure is legally formulated and is accepted to be in legal structure itself, whether metropolis or any other, we are working together with those. As Osizweni, we were in Newcastle yesterday. The matter was raised, and I'm glad to say, speaking this morning, there's been a success that has happened in Newcastle as this person is raising the matter. There's been a good success there. There's been a big bust of the trucks themselves and the people that push trucks. They look young, but they are driven by matured and elderly people. So the person who follows this matter of Osizweni is not following it very closely, because if you're following it very closely, would know the results, very good results that have happened at Osizweni. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Minister. I think we do have further questions. Are we done with the questions?
No, we do have questions.
Okay, let's just for the purpose of recording and also so that everyone came on the same page, let's take 4 questions and then allow for response. Over to you, Jabulani.
Okay, I have Pumzi Zuzile from Sunday Times. Can the minister comment on the low conviction rate with regards to GBV cases? Second question, what measures have been put in place to see more convictions? And I have Sophia from AFP. Are you concerned that a planned anti-foreigners protest tomorrow could degenerate into xenophobic attacks? And then I have Marika Velmak for AFP. Minister, there are reports of anti-Nigeria protest supposedly happening tomorrow in Pretoria. Are you aware of this? Is this allowed? And are you concerned it could gravitate anti-foreigner sentiment? Will the anti-foreigner protest be broken up or down if they exceed level 1 gatherings limits? Should I continue?
One more.
I have a Christian Duplessis from Network 24. Will the minister please elaborate on the statement he made yesterday in Normandian that farm murderers will not be classified as priority crimes? Why not?
Thank you so much, Jabulani.
Thanks.
Minister, over to you.
Well, in Namadin, such a statement was not made. There was no such a statement in Namadin yesterday. I don't know which Namadin was that, but the Namadin where I was, that statement was not made yesterday. The question 3 and 4 is a similar question that has been answered already.
Yeah.
But this one has got the specific. The march tomorrow by this, I guess, by a certain political party, they are marching to to the Home Affairs offices about the sentiments that will be foreign nationals. But also I am aware that there is a march against Nigerians per se. Where the police are monitoring that. As I have said, that South Africans got the constitutional right, or anybody else constitutional right, to march without violence or any other crime committed. If people they commit crime there, they will be arrested. We expect people to honor the law, to respect the law. Even so, that all activities that are outside under alert level 1, they can't be more than 500. So we expect that they will honor that law, and as such, will be able to respect the law, and they will be able to do it within the law, and will be able to go home. Low conviction rate. We arrest, we don't convict. So we arrest and it goes. I'm sure my colleague Lamula can deal with that question. Thanks.
Minister, there's a question from Nazir from Glow TV. They're asking, are burials allowed to take place during curfew times? Note that certain religious groupings bury immediately, especially with COVID-19 deaths.
Burials are allowed to take space in the Republic of South Africa at any given time. They're not prohibited.
There you go. Hope that answers your question, Nazir. Can you maybe take the last rounds of questions, Jabulani? Are we done?
There's no other questions.
Oh, fantastic. With that, maybe some closing remarks, Minister, General, then we can just close the press briefing for today.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let me take the opportunity, firstly, to commend our men and women in blue, that despite the circumstances, we are still holding on and we continue to create a safe and secure environment for our communities in South Africa. But secondly, let me also equally express our appreciation to the community of South Africa for continuously supporting the police to do their job. But at the same time, thanks for making the job of the police easy during COVID-19. It has not been very difficult to enforce due to their cooperation. And as the police, we will continue with our commitment to fulfill our constitutional mandate. Thank you very much.
Thanks. The crux of the matter, when it comes to COVID-19, we're not out of the wood. That's what the experts are saying. We have seen what has happened to other countries. What I've seen going around operating with the police, I'm very scared that should the second wave come, it might be more devastating than the first wave. People are completely forgotten that there is a danger out there. They don't comply at all. No mask out there, no distance. People, they drink, they dance, they sweat together and all that. Secondly, we request people that are making business to respect life, especially the people that are dealing with the alcohol business. When you're supposed to close, do exactly what you're supposed to do, because that can be the center of death, that can be the center of pandemic. The way they don't have to lock the people inside their shipping, they don't have to sell people to take away when they're not supposed to do. But South Africans themselves, they must remember that this is their lives and they must behave as such. But generally, we're not out of the woods as South Africans. The world is not out there. Let's remember, we do this so that we live longer and we make sure that we take care of our children. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Minister. I think that message was clear and loud. Thank you so much to your media colleagues who have joined us virtually and posing those questions. I hope that your questions were answered. And with that, I bring this press conference to a close.